Hello, I'm Darren Magee, and the topic for today's video comes from questions asking if I would outline some of the common signs of a toxic working environment. Although I will be primarily focusing on a working environment, some of the following could apply to any toxic, unhealthy environment or network where someone has a particular role and they experience long-term stress, anxiety, due to maybe the culture or other people's behavior, not necessarily due to the role itself. But I would like to say at the beginning, a toxic workplace is not the same as having a job you don't like. A toxic work environment can involve lying, devaluing, crossing professional as well as personal boundaries. There could be inappropriate comments, bad language, name calling. Sometimes the boundaries between work and home life can blur as the stress and anxiety spills into someone's personal life, even into their relationships. There are different things that can create a toxic working environment. There could be an atmosphere that stifles growth, that de-skills people. There could be a culture of bullying and micromanaging, constant disapproval. But it's an environment that affects someone's ability to complete their tasks competently and confidently, and yet still punish them for it. So in this video, I'm going to outline 9 common signs of a toxic, unhealthy work environment. And as always, if you find this video interesting, please consider subscribing to my channel. But in no particular order, the first sign of a toxic workplace is it has cliques. Now these are little groups that stick together, exclude others, unless of course allegiances change. Cliques tend to be quite counterproductive. They tend to have a them and us mentality. There can be jokes and gossip about those outside that little group. In some cases, those little cliques might get offered special projects, preferential treatment, even bonuses, regardless of their talent, skill, or effort. People in those little cliques can become quite precious, quite guarded over their work, over their roles. So they exclude others, which can lead to an atmosphere of negativity. Other staff feel alienated, feel as if they're being overlooked or treated unfairly. Sometimes they go off and form their own little cliques. They can also ostracize a member or certain members of staff, pretty much show them how unimportant, unwelcome, or irrelevant they are. That could be continually getting someone's name wrong, not including them in group emails or messages, openly ignoring them or having conversations about them right in front of them. Secondly, there's poor communication. Now, there could be a lack of clarity around issues and instructions, but there can also be contradictory messages sent to different members of staff. This often leads to confusion, uncertainty. There's a lack of understanding, a lack of focus, and ultimately poor productivity. Another aspect of communication is poor listening skills. Concerns or requests for support aren't listened to. There could be reactive, emotionally driven responses rather than addressing a certain query or issue. There could be aggressive, derogatory language used or sarcasm, so people become afraid to ask for clarity, support, or instruction out of fear of how they may be answered. This ultimately leads to further difficulties. A manager that doesn't listen to their team is not a good leader. They don't inspire trust or loyalty, and they generally don't get the best from those that work with them. Staff members who don't listen to the manager, don't listen to instructions, find obstacles, difficulties everywhere. They can be disruptive, they create division, and generally just waste everybody's time. But when people aren't listened to, they tend to get very frustrated. They lose interest, motivation, sometimes even loyalty. Thirdly, there's dishonesty and double standards. People in the organization do not practice or live by its core values. They don't follow their own ethical framework or codes of conduct, but maybe come down hard on others who don't. There could be a lot of lying. People lie about their work, lie about their outcome, but they don't take any responsibility for any mistakes or errors. It's always someone else's fault. Rules could be used against people to coerce them, to control them, sometimes even fire them. So there is an atmosphere of fear and everybody's always trying to cover their back. Which leads me to sign number 4, and that's people being set up to fail. There could be unreasonable expectations, impossible targets to hit. For instance, there may be only 10 items of something in stock, but a team of 5 people are expected to sell 10 items each by the end of the month. This can lead to unhealthy competition where people actively work against each other. Sometimes people don't even know what their goals are. They're either badly communicated or they are constantly changing. But because they can't mind read or second guess or keep up, people are left to feel as if they're failures. They're kept under a constant strain of must do better or you'll be in trouble. Sign number 5 would be a lack of development or growth within the organization. People are continually overlooked for training opportunities or for promotion, sometimes in favor of others who may be in a certain clique. Growth and development opportunities are important. Without them, people feel undervalued, unchallenged, underutilized, and unappreciated. So, other than a paycheck, they have no real incentive. And this can be very demotivating. What's the point in doing your best if it just goes unnoticed? Which leads me on to the next sign of a toxic workplace. There is no motivation. People don't do their best, maybe just enough to get by. They don't support each other. Maybe everyone is too busy, they're too bored, or they just don't care. Everything is an effort, everything is unfair. There can be more time spent complaining and gossiping rather than working. There could even be people doing little to nothing all day long and getting away with it. And yet, maybe they're better thought of than those who are trying to work hard. There can be many different reasons for a lack of motivation, but quite commonly it can be because the place is just badly organized. The workers feel disenfranchised, they don't feel valued. Maybe they don't trust each other, they don't trust the leadership. There could even be bullying taking place, and it's just accepted as normal. Yes, it is fair to say there can be individuals who don't have maybe what you would call a good work ethic. But when there is a culture of demotivated, unmotivated employees, that's usually a sign of a much bigger problem that isn't being addressed. Sign number 7, which is probably the most obvious, the organization has a very high turnover of staff. No one stays for long. It's almost like there's a revolving door there. This can indicate many things. It can show dissatisfaction, lacks of opportunity, bullying, micromanaging. There could be undermining or disrespecting for people's skills and experience. There could be heightened stress and anxiety, but little to no support or appreciation. But regardless of the reason, the organization just offers no incentive for people to stay. Number 8, the only feedback people get is negative feedback. Again, this could include derogatory language, being made to feel stupid, worthless perhaps for not knowing information they weren't given in the first place. Or if someone is working really hard, is doing a really good job, they could be treated with contempt, insulted. Staff are constantly corrected, micromanaged, judged harshly rather than given constructive criticism. There's never anything supportive. I would say this is primarily a sign of bad leadership. As the expression goes, people don't leave bad jobs, they leave bad bosses and bad work colleagues. And lastly, sign number 9, there's bullying. There could be threatening behavior, comments, remarks made to deliberately make someone feel uncomfortable and unwelcome, to dismiss their concerns. There's being derogatory towards someone's physical characteristics, their personal values, or their background. Now, it could just be just to dominate. The bully wants to feel important about themselves. So there's harassment, there's harsh language, gossip, unkind nicknames, and dehumanizing. Or it could be a way to perhaps encourage someone to leave by making their job, making their lives miserable. So there are just a few signs of a toxic work environment. Now, the long-term exposure to an environment like this can have a huge impact on someone's mental as well as their physical health. It can lead to burnout, disillusionment of a chosen career. People can feel drained emotionally, feel as if their soul has been eroded. It can affect their personal life, their work-life balance is non-existent. The toxicity of the workplace follows them home. It affects their sleep pattern, it affects their diet. But there are many different ways in which exposure to a long-term toxic working environment can affect someone. But if you would like me to go into more detail in a future video, just let me know in the comments section. And as always, there are many examples I could have given and many I've left out. If you have any, and if you feel comfortable in sharing them, again, please use the comment section box below. There are interesting conversations start around these videos. But if you find this video interesting, please consider subscribing to my channel. And until next time, thanks for watching.